Have you ever been walking through a local game store and seen that one game on the shelf that made you think to yourself, well damn, I don't know what this is, but I'm ready to drop my life savings on it because the cover art looks like a 90s anime fever dream? That was me at our local retro game store back in 2020 when I first locked eyes with a copy of Lunar Eternal Blue Complete. But then I saw the price and realized I like food and shelter more. I bought it 2 years later, and now it's just under a week and a half since the Lunar Remastered Collection dropped, and I've been seeing a lot of conversation about whether or not this game justifies its $50 price tag, since it's, you know, a remaster. And to be honest, I've had a lot worse when it comes to remasters. Sure, we're living in the age where the Switch 2 game prices were announced, and it's likely that we'll have to take out a second mortgage just to enjoy Donkey Kong's Conky Dong, but really? $50 for 2 remastered games is where people are getting angry? Come on people, this shit's fantastic. But that got me thinking. The word remaster and remake get thrown around willy-nilly these days, but what actually makes a game a true remaster versus a remake? I've heard people say that if they didn't redo the soundtrack, then it can't be a true remaster. Or, if the devs traced over the FMV sequences instead of remaking them from the ground up, then it can't be a remaster. That's a remake! You're asking for a f***ing remake! Okay, so let's first take a look at the most recent remaster I've played that I think fits as a top tier remaster, just as well as Lunar does. Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster. Originally published on everyone's favorite orange lunchbox, the HD Remaster combined both games on one file, and brought them to my favorite JRPG machine, the Switch. This version of the game came with new features like redrawn backgrounds, revamped models, a reworked battle UI, an updated pause menu, auto-saving, Magnus sorting, and completely stabilized the frame rate to create a smoother experience. It's also worth pointing out that the devs opted to not go back and re-record the English VO, but instead remove it completely and burn it in the flames of hell, never to see the light of day again. Oh, and the OST was also left alone. Because if your name is Motoi Sakuraba, you can't improve on perfection. In terms of a recent remake that I played, I'm just gonna go with the obvious choice, a game that has been the hype of many JRPG fans across the globe since it was first announced like a decade and a half ago. Final Fantasy VII Remake. This video would be well over an hour long if I were to go into every single detail that was changed from the Final Fantasy VII original version to the remake. Because holy shit, if you want a remake of a game made from the ground up with changes to literally anything you could possibly imagine, Final Fantasy VII has it. Hell, I probably could have picked something a little easier though, like Pokemon Heart Gold or Alpha Sapphire. They just don't carry the same massive balls as the Final Fantasy VII Remake does on its own. And it's just the first game in the trilogy. Some key points are a completely recomposed OST, redesigning the combat and traversal system from the ground up, and, you know, changing literally the entire story by introducing the concept of the Whispers and revealing that Zack is alive in an alternate timeline. That right there is what justifies a remake. And it also justifies the $70 price tag, which is why I've only played the first one and have not cared to play the rest of them at all. So what about Lunar? With all that situated in our brains, let's look at the Remastered Collection and see where it stands in the remake versus remaster debate. Spoiler alert, it's called a Remastered Collection. Do the math. First off, what do you actually get? This bundle includes the PlayStation 1 versions of Lunar Silver Star Story Complete and Eternal Blue Complete, but not the Sega CD originals. This is an important detail because while the core story is the same, the PS1 versions have a different art style, different cutscenes, and that glorious late 90s anime polish that just screams, "I was raised on Toonami and I'm better for it." Honestly, the level of detail in the anime itself is similar to what I've seen in series like Record of Lodoss War, which has been one of my favorites in the last couple years. It's so dang crispy and good looking. In terms of improvements, the collection includes higher definition graphics for the environment, character sprites, and portraits, cleaner visual text, an incredible range of options to change, remastered FMV cutscenes, a classic and remastered version of both games, giving you 4 games in total, 4:3 support in classic mode, and 16:9 widescreen support in remastered mode. Oh, and ground-up re-recorded English voiceover and singing, toggleable battle speeds, improved AI for auto battles, and an updated item system, and even changes to the locations of the collectible bromides from the original release in Silver Star Story Complete based on the original Japanese version. I really like the look of the anime cutscenes. I mean, I liked them in the base game. They were already really well done and looked fantastic, but the redrawn versions for the remaster just have like nicer, smoother lines and textures. The colors pop a little bit more. It's just a nice addition overall. And thank God they updated the inventory system. The originals had you playing a party-wide version of Hot Potato to just equip a sword. Now it's a clean top bar, bottom bar setup. Much like Baten Kaitos, the OST remains the original version. But like Baten Kaitos as well, I already love the soundtrack, and it sounds just as good as it did on the PlayStation 1. And I've been playing this version on the Switch. But not just the Switch, my original launch model that is 100% showing its age these days. And I have noticed a total of 0 issues with frame rate, sound quality, visual fidelity, anything like that. And honestly, as good as the PS1 version is, the Switch Remaster has 100% become my preferred way to play the game. Lunar and Lunar 2 are by no means massive undertakings in the RPG space, clocking in around 60 hours total to get through the story of both games, excluding 100% completionists. But the quality of life features that were added, like the availability on portable consoles and increased battle speeds, makes playing both games an absolute delight. Hell, I'm an RPG gamer over 30, married, with a full-time job, creating content on the side, with hobbies that take up my entire time. So the fact that I don't have to sit in one spot to play the game and I can just pick it up and take it wherever I want is goals, as the youths would say. So here's the deal. Is the Lunar Remastered Collection worth the $50? Personally, my vote is a resounding yes, especially if you were like me and wanted to get your hands on the game without selling a kidney for a complete in-box copy. Or if you're a fan of the franchise already. Or you just like comfy RPGs. Because this game is comfy as f***. But if you're looking for something a little meatier with meaningful enhancements like Suikoden 1's visual glow-up akin to Suikoden 2 or Resident Evil 4 HD, you're a bit out of luck. And hey, the fact that this remaster even exists is a win. In the year 2025, a niche JRPG series that hasn't been relevant since the days of dial-up internet is getting its time in the sun again. That's pretty magical. Now, if only games like Golden Sun and Tales of Phantasia could get this same level of treatment, I would be a happy camper. If you've got the nostalgia goggles on full blast or just want to experience a piece of JRPG history without suffering through disc rot, go for it. If not, consider waiting for it to go on sale. If you really want to feel like you're back in the 90s though, you could just wait for Blockbuster to throw it in the 50% off bin.